Okay, so today we're going to be talking about Genesis. And the first activity, uh, you're going to put all the, I want you to organize the steps of creation. Do you think you know them by heart?
About the creation.
The creation, everything that happened in creation. So we're going to order creation from day 1 to day 7.
Yeah. Day 1, God says, oh my gosh.
Do you have a Bible in English?
No, just in my,
Okay.
I have here. Let me
So
open
day
it.
1, what happened in day 1?
Let me take my Bible with there. My goodness, what the Bible? Yeah, this was Genesis 1. What? It's in Portuguese. This Bible is in English. Oh no. There's the another one. Okay.
So what happened?
I think my Bible is not in English here. Okay, Genesis chapter 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light." Was light. God saw that light was good, and he separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night.
Okay,
And
very good.
there
One
was,
second.
yeah.
Then was the first day, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Okay,
And it was morning the first day. Mm-hmm.
so do you think God created heavens and earth in the beginning? Or do you think God created heaven and earth? Hey, Celsia, are you okay?
Yeah, yeah,
So do you think God created heaven and earth in the beginning? Or do you think God created heaven and earth on day 1?
yeah, yeah. Heaven and earth in the beginning.
In the beginning? So that's
Yeah.
not day 1.
No.
That's different. Okay. So
Yes.
that's why I put a question mark because it's not clear
No, heavens, and the earth in the beginning.
in the beginning. Okay, so it could have been before the creation. I don't know. I'm just
Be-
thinking
before.
in the beginning. So maybe before. And that is when science, sometimes people say, but the earth is very old. Well,
Mm,
maybe earth is very old, but then when God decided to create the earth, that's one possibility. Nobody really knows. So what happened on day 2?
day 2.
So Celsia, if you want to help as well. So what happened on day 2?
Still looking for the verse. Wait.
Mm-hmm.
Lights and day and night. Day 2.
What did you say?
Day 2 he separate the superfy. No. They let me lights and the first morning first day.
Superfície, a gente fala superfície, é
Mm.
surface.
Surface. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Surface. Why not? He don't say the first day, the second day. Okay, I think the second day he says he separated surface and of the deep.
Okay, so that's in Genesis 1:6 through 8.
1:6. 1 and
Verses
6.
6, 7, and 8.
Yeah, 1, 2, there were 3. God say, "Let there be light," and was light. 4. God saw that the light was good, and they separated the light from the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
And 5. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning the first day.
Mm-hmm. We're now on the second day.
And God said, "Let me be." This Bible is New International Version of this Bible. Let me see. God, let be there Voltan between the waters.
Uhum.
What's the name? Voltan.
Volt é como se fosse uma separação, como se fosse um gap, só que é como é, é, é maior, sabe? Então, let there be a volt between waters to separate water from water. And what else? In verse 8?
So, yeah, God made the Voltan and separated the water and under the vault from the water above it. And it was so. God called the vault sky, and there was evening, and there was morning the second day.
What happened on the second day then?
Yeah, the second day he separates. Let me devoted between the water and separate the water from water from water.
So
And they in the water and the sky.
That's it. Separated sky and waters. That's very good. Okay, day 3. Day 3 is in Genesis 1, verses 9 through 13.
9, 13. In God say, "Let me water in the sky be gathered." What's his name?
Gathered. É juntado.
Gathered to one place, and let dry ground appear. And it was so. God called the dry ground land, and the garage waters has called the seas, and God saw that is what good. And the second day is the land and seas.
There's more. On the day 3, actually.
Day 3. The gods said, let the land produce vegetation,
Mhm.
vegetation, said bearing plants and trees on the land that bear fruit with said it.
Okay, so day four is verses 14 to 19.
Ó,
Você não precisa ler o verso todo se não quiser, basta só falar o que
o
eu
que ele que fez, né? Ok, vegetação. Day 4 now. Um, uh, nossa, tô misturado. Day 4.
So if you want to participate as well, you can help.
Oh my God.
14 to 19.
14 to 19. Okay, yeah, 14. What is that? Sky.
In English Standard Version, the verse 13 was even, and there was evening, and there was morning. So God creates the sun, moon, and stars, day and night.
So day and night was created in day one. The sun, moon, and stars were created on day four. Let's check on that, but I think that's correct. Let's just check. So, oops. No, this is the land and vegetation is gone. 14 to 19. So let's see. 14 to 19. Say, let there be volts in the sky to separate them. Signs to mark sacred times, days, and years, and let them be lights in the vault of the sky. So God made two great lights, the greater light to govern the day. Yeah, so that's when he made the stars. And one thing, Sauzia, I'm going to confess to you that I was also confused. And only when I was preparing this lesson that I realized that God actually created the stars and the moon after. Because I was confused, because I was thinking, okay, God created the trees, and the trees need light to survive. So I confess to you that I only realized this when I was making this lesson, that the moon and the stars were created after, because the trees, the plants feed on light. Não é o sol que as plantas se alimentam, elas se alimentam da luz. Então a luz ela existiu antes de marcar a luz no céu. Ou seja, a luz é um conceito muito mais profundo do que o que a gente vê no céu, porque Deus é luz, né? E as trevas são trevas, ou seja, a luz e as trevas são um conceito muito mais profundo do que o que a gente vê de estrela, sol e lua. That's my understanding. That's what I understood when I was reading this, because I got confused as well. I don't know if you agree with me, but that's what I understood.
I agree.
Okay, so we have only 3 days left. Come on, just quickly, let's have a look. What happened on day
5. God creates the sea creatures and the flying creatures.
So sea creatures,
Birds.
Flying
flying creatures, What else?
God. 6.
Bird, leopards multiplied.
Yeah, so sea and flying creatures, right? So these two. Am I missing anything?
6. God creates land, animals, and humans
Oh, this is so
made
cute.
in God's
On
image.
image. Yeah, on image. Mm-hmm. Land, animals, and humans.
Okay.
Okay. That's cool. And what happened on day 7?
God rests after finishing his work of creation.
God rested. Okay. So that's really interesting. I have a few questions for you now. What did God created? Why do you think that God created things separately? This is a very deep question, okay? Nobody has the answer, I don't think. So we've done what everything that God created on each day, but why do you think it happened separately?
I think because God, well, I don't know.
It's very deep. We don't really know the answers. Celsia, do you have any ideas?
Yeah, it's a really difficult question.
You know, one day, Claydis told me something, okay? And that really stuck with me. With God, it is a step by step. You cannot skip steps. You need to go through every step with God. So that kind of brings to my imagination that when God is creating something and he is Elohim, he's God creator, Deus Elohim, God creator. He's always creating something in our lives. So he's teaching us that everything needs to go step by step. And I'm like, I want to cry when I say this. There's no skipping steps with God. You need to go through every step. And that's my understanding when I think about it. I don't know
But
if you
maybe
agree.
he make everything in order.
In order. Yeah, so there's a step by step, and we have to like just getting it with God and trust him that he knows what he's doing. So what do you think? What do you think that God really meant? Esse é o passado de querer dizer, sabe? What do you think God really meant when he said, let's make mankind in our image?
What God think meant when he said. I don't know. I just say this is the big love with us
Oh,
because
this is so nice. Yeah.
because the angels is different. All the angels is different one from us. They not have the God's image.
Okay, I love this one. I love this explanation. What do you think, Celsia?
About the man, you mean?
Yeah. Why do you think God, what do you think God meant when he said that? These are
I
very
didn't know
profound questions, huh?
Yeah. I didn't know what more to say. I agree with what she said.
With Morena. Okay. I think the third question is a little bit easier. What did God rest? Why did God rest on the seventh day? And what can we learn from it? What can we learn from God's rest?
Mm. Mm. Because he's finished all the job,
Mhm.
his work.
His work was done.
Yeah.
What can we learn from it?
I think um mm, I think we need to do is like a God. We need to do everything, and after, for example, we the women, we for example, we wake up, make breakfast, and kids at school, clothes, everything in the house. After, we need the rest and enjoy.
Mhm. So we must create a moment for our rest, right?
Yeah.
So if this was creation, God was teaching us that we must also create a moment of rest. So this is very good. Hello, Gabi. We're talking about the creation. So far, we have organized the steps of creation. So we had in the beginning, before the actual creation, we think before the actual creation. God created the heavens and earth, light and darkness, skies and waters, land, seas and vegetation, sun, moon and stars, sea, flying creatures, land animals, and humans, and God rested. And now we were discussing why God broke up the creation, creating it step by step, and what he meant. I don't know what we think he meant when he said, let's make mankind in our image. Vamos fazer o homem à nossa imagem. And why do we think God rested? So all these questions are really just us thinking about it with the help of the Holy Spirit, because we don't really have all the answers. And okay, so now we're going to watch a video, and he's going to go through the steps again, so that we just reinforce it, pra gente reforçar, né, the vocabulary. So
The first book in the Bible is called Genesis.
And we're going to look closely at the first page of the book of Genesis. It's a carefully crafted narrative about God creating
can you hear the sound?
Yes.
Yeah.
and ordering the whole cosmos.
Okay, let's check it out. Now, the opening line of the whole Bible is, "In the beginning, God created the skies and the land."
Now, your Bible translation might say the heavens and the earth. In biblical Hebrew, the word for heaven refers simply to the sky above, and the word for earth does not mean globe, but rather the land.
The ground below us.
Right. This line is summarizing what's going to happen in the following narrative, which starts in the next line.
And it reads, "Now the land was wild and waste."
This phrase rhymes in Hebrew. The land was tohu vavohu, which means unordered and uninhabited. This is the ancient way of talking about the pre-creation state. what we might call nothingness. For the biblical authors, non-existence means having no purpose and no order. And the next line uses another image to say the same thing.
And darkness was on the face of the deep abyss. What's the deep abyss?
Yeah, it's a dark, chaotic ocean. It's another common way the ancients described the non-reality that preceded creation. Now, here's where things start to get interesting, because in the midst of those dark waters, God is present.
And the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters.
The Hebrew word for God's Spirit is ruach, which can refer to wind or breath or God's invisible presence.
So you can't see it, but God is present in the darkness, ready to bring order so that life can flourish.
Yes, and this ordering happens in a series of 6 days.
Each day begins with the phrase, "And God said," and then ends with the phrase, "And there was evening and morning."
Yeah, every day addresses those problems introduced in verse 2, that there's no order and no inhabitants. So on days 1 through 3, God splits apart that unordered darkness into 3 ordered realms. Then, on days 4 through 6, God fills the uninhabited wasteland with creatures.
Interesting. Let's see how that works.
Okay, so the first realm of order begins with light on day 1.
Ah, yes. Let there be light.
This is God's own glorious light that fills and contains the darkness as he separates day from night. God's establishing the order of time.
Okay, and then on day 2, let there be a vault between the waters to separate water from water. What's the vault?
In the ancient culture of the biblical authors, the sky was perceived as a solid dome that holds back waters. God's depicted here as splitting the chaos waters in half, above and below, which creates the realms of the sky and the seas.
And then on day 3, let the waters under the sky be gathered into one place and let dry ground appear.
God is establishing the realm of the land, and it emerges out of the chaotic waters. And then there's a bonus creative act on day 3. God invites plants and fruit trees with seed to emerge out of the land.
Okay, so we've got the realms of time, the realm of the sky and the seas, and the land. And they all have order.
Right. Now, it's time to go back and fill these realms of days 1 through 3 with inhabitants. This is what happens on days 4 through 6.
So in day 4, let there be lights in the vaults of the sky.
God installs these lights, the sun, moon, and stars, as signs and symbols that reflect God's own light. He gives them his own royal power to separate day and night.
Then on day 5, let the waters swarm with living creatures, and let birds fly above the land.
Yeah, these are the creatures that live in the waters below, and those that fly near the waters above.
Then finally on day 6, let the land produce living creatures.
They emerge up out of the ground to live on the land. And then, matching that bonus act of creation on day 3, God makes a special land creature, human, or in Hebrew, Adam. Then, God provides all of those plants from day 3 as abundant food.
Now, over and over, God says what he created was good. But then, after making humans, God says that it is very good.
Yes, humanity is the climax of days 1 through 6, and their importance is explained in the first poem in the Bible.
So God created humanity in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them.
So humans come up from the ground like the other land creatures, but they're also more. They're God's image, which means that together, men and women embody and represent the Creator within his creation.
God blessed them and said, "Be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it, ruling over the creatures."
This is the purpose of being God's image, to oversee creation as God's partners and representatives in the world.
Very cool.
Now, after the 6 days, we get a concluding line that links back to the key words of the opening line.
And so were completed the skies and the land and all their inhabitants.
Except there's one more day. It stands outside the pattern of days 1 through 6. It's the big climax.
And God completed on the 7th day the work which he had done. And he rested on the 7th day from all the work which he had done. And God blessed the 7th day and set it apart as holy.
So God rests on the 7th day. This is a standard biblical image where God, after ordering the cosmos, comes to rest and dwell in his sacred space. It's like the whole world is a holy temple where God lives with his people.
Now, that phrase, there was evening and morning, it doesn't appear on day 7.
That's right. The seventh day has no end. That's because Genesis 1 is describing God's ideal vision for the whole cosmos.
A place where God lives with his partners to rule the world in harmony forever.
Yes, the seventh day is the goal of creation. It's actually so important that the author of Genesis 1 has woven the number 7 into every part of the story. There are 7 days of creation, 7 announcements that creation is good. There are 7 Hebrew words in the opening verse, and then 2 times 7 Hebrew words in verse 2. And then the statement about the seventh day has 3 lines of 7 words.
Wow. So the first page in the Bible is doing way more than just telling us how the world was made.
Right. Genesis 1 has been designed to show us that God's purpose is to share creation with his images, so they can rest and rule it with him forever. And that purpose is what the rest of the biblical drama is all about.
What a video. What a
Wow.
video.
Wow.
Eu anotei um monte de coisa aqui, ó, tipo, revelação para minha própria vida. What a video. I really love the fact that they say, no, I'm gonna let you comment on it. What do you think? What do you girls think? Nothing? I think the part that I thought was really incredible in the video was when he said, on the seventh day, God dwells. Dwells é um sinônimo para inhabit. Então, Deus vive, né? Mora. So he says to dwell. Inhabit. Ele fala, on the seventh day, God dwells in his holy temple. Deus fez o mundo, God created the world and called it his holy temple. And what he says is that it's very interesting that the holy day has no end. I thought that was very beautiful.
God is incomparable.
He's incomparable. Yeah, that's true. Celso mandou um coraçãozinho aqui, a heart for us. I'm gonna give you a controverso, polêmico, né? I'm gonna give you a controversial statement. Statement é uma frase, and I want you to tell me what you think about it. Just give me 1 second. Well, it's maybe not so controversial, okay? It's not so controversial, but I want you aqui pra gente melhorar, não só o que acontece, não é só sobre o inglês, mas nós como cristãos, nós temos que pensar bastante nessas questões, porque as pessoas amam, assim, tipo, zombar de Deus, essas coisas. Às vezes a gente tem que se calar. Mas outras vezes Deus vai nos incomodar, o Espírito Santo vai nos incomodar para a gente ter uma resposta. Se a gente não medita na palavra de Deus, a gente nunca vai ter uma resposta, né? A gente nunca vai entender. E nós mesmos, nós não somos chamados a não pensar nas coisas da Bíblia. Quite the opposite. Nós somos chamados a meditar nas coisas da Bíblia. Então a gente vê, como já foi lido, né? Humanity is made in the image and likeness of God, but men and women struggle to live out. Live out é viver, né, viver de forma plena ali, né? Live out this calling. Do you agree with this statement or you don't agree, and why? Vai acabar a ligação, aí vocês entram que a gente vai fazer mais vai terminar essa aqui do statement, e a gente vai fazer mais uma atividade e já encerra, tá bom? Então vai cair, vocês entram de novo. Enquanto isso, vão pensando na resposta. O homem e a mulher